Hello Internet people, back again here at the Canal of Solitude for another one of whatever these are. I enjoy making these. If you're here looking for game updates, you're going to be disappointed. That's not what I'm going to talk about today. But the game is, Civil War II is progressing. There was a bit of a hang-up. Basically my old factory just like straight up lied to me and tried to gouge me for so I fired his ass and I went back to Jane, who was always good to me. I don't know why I left her in the first place. So, and because the new vendor means new die, and I had to reformat some stuff, and anyway, but today's video is called Heroin Bob Reviews Salt Lake City Punk. We'll see how that does in the algorithm. Make it ping pong all over the place. If anybody sees it, it'll be like, yeah, wait, isn't this a board game company? What's this doing here? There's a dude coming. Anyway, what I was going to do is I'm going to talk about the movie. Talk apart where the movie got things right, where it got things wrong, and then tell you what really happened, which I think is much more interesting. Because so the film. Wait a minute, it was a Heroin Bob review. Like, is Heroin Bob standing behind you? I'll get to that. My working theory of like how this film got made is like, I looked the guy up, okay, because so like I was like Salt Lake City gutter punk from like the 90s, like 89, maybe not that long, like 90s, like 96, right? And my working theory is like somebody, like this guy, like I said, like I don't know, I've never heard of him. He must have like gone there just before the movie was made and like collected stories and framed the movie around it, because all the stories are true, and I will go through them and I'll tell you what's true and what wasn't true. But then the rest of it is like he seemed to cast it like he set it in like the early 80s, like Britpunk, like Sex Pistols / what would you have it? What would be the American equivalent? Like that time period, which is, you know, wrong. And then like this part of the film, like why does like the film, if you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's like, how about what makes Salt Lake City Punk unique? And apparently he doesn't know, right? I'm going to tell you why, and it's more interesting than his version. It's like something religion, Mormon religion is very oppressive, so punk, very violent. Okay, right, okay. Saudi Arabia is very religious. I don't know about like a big punk scene there. No, it's so let's go through the film. So there are two characters. The two main characters, Steve-O, is it Steve-O? Or am I mixing it up with another movie? It's Steve-O. And then like Heroin Bob. And like Steve-O is like, must be based on the author or something, because his parents are lawyers and they're rich. And he doesn't really seem to know what, he doesn't seem to know anything, but he's like the main character. And then like his friend is this guy called Heroin Bob. So I'm watching this, and the first time I think it was in Salt Lake at the time. I must have been 99. And I'm watching this, and like this guy, like he smokes and he drinks, but he never just does drugs. I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds like my kind of guy. It's like he hates needles and hates doctors. Like, whoa. He and I could be like brothers, because like that's totally. And then like he punches the mirror. Okay, so this is a scene like he punches a mirror for no reason, and his hand gets infected. He refuses to go to the hospital. his hand gets like gangrene or something, and then like they have to drag him there. It's like, that's the most infected thing I've ever seen. Okay, like, do you know that guy? He's like, of course I know him. Of course I know him. It's me. Like, that's incredible. And I did like the Jaws, like Dolly's. What? Like, how could that be? But yeah, if you went to Salt Lake City in like 96, 97-ish, and like asked about like weird punk stories, you probably would have heard that story. I'll tell you what really happened. Why not now? Why not now? There's the hand. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, that is all scar tissue, all the way down to the bone. But okay, first let me set a scene for you. I guess there's no really sense telling the story before I set the scene. The film touches on this a little bit. Okay, the film is set, like, their house really resembles the Sick Boy house. The Sick Boys were like a group of punks who lived together, and I believe North Salt Lake. They were slightly before my time. I ran into a couple of them, but they had like aged out by the time I arrived, mostly. But like, you heard legends about them like all the time. And then okay, so that is like North Salt Lake, like behind the Capitol, is kind of it's a separate city called North Salt Lake, and it's very working class. I knew several like actual punks who were from there. I'm gonna try not to name names. Like, if you were there, you're gonna know who I was talking about. But I'm trying not to name their names. I crashed there a couple times. But most of it happens in most of the punk scene in Salt Lake at that time would be in the Sugar House area, which is south, like something like 20th South, slightly to the east, I want to say. That whole area is like completely gone now. I went back there in like 2003-ish, I want to say, and it had been completely made over. Like, it's completely, but by the time the film was made, it was only like half gone. So like, you'll see there's like a scene where Steve-O and Heroin Bob, they walk past this head shop called Gaia, and you can see it clearly. I think they even go inside. I believe they do. Yeah, because I don't know. My kids might upset up seeing this. I should, what the heck? I'll just tell everything. I got a massive, like, 8-inch cock ring at Gaia, if you know what. There's no other word for it that I'm aware of. It's just a cock ring. It's like a piece of leather with like these rings on it. Like, I got the biggest one they had, and like on my leather, right? So like, they have like the shoulder straps, and like, you peel it back and you just put the cock ring on. And that was like my, what do you call it? Décolletage. That was like my thing. It's like, walk around Salt Lake City, people, like people who knew what that was. Like, dude, that thing's like 12 inches. But anyway, yeah, so, okay, that's Gaia, that's the street, okay, that's Sugar House. And if you come out the door, and like, if you're facing it to your left, you walk down 2 or 3 doors, that at the time would have been the Java Jive. And I have a lot to say about the Java Jive, okay? And then across the street from the Java Jive, there would be like a big gravel parking lot, and where the big black box, and that was Confetti, okay? Confetti was the goth club. Like, Salt Lake City in the late 80s, early 90s had enough goths to support an entire dedicated goth club. One of the few goth clubs in the city. Dedicated goth club. It was open every Friday and Saturday. Yes. And I was there every Friday and Saturday. Okay, so about the Java Jive. Java Jive was a coffee shop, okay? And it was so named because it was kind of a jazz theme. I think they wanted to have a jazz themed coffee shop, and it was owned by Charlie and Mom. Okay, Charlie and Mom. Charlie was a Vietnam vet. He was a blast crater analysis guy. Right, his job was to like look at bomb craters and like tell you like what kind of a bomb it was, who dropped it, etc., etc. And Mom, and everybody called her Mom because, okay, we're gonna get into that in a minute. Okay, but if you went in there on a weekday, it would be full of kids, homeless kids, okay, smoking a lot, like a lot, like, and I would spend my day there smoking a lot, okay, and whatever happened in the movie? Should I? Okay, why was that important to establish the Java Jive? There was a reason. What was it? I don't remember. Let me get back to the movie, and then I'll get back to the Java Jive. So, opening scene. All right, it's Steve-O and Heroin Bob, and they got baseball bats, and they're beating up pickup trucks in what looks like the Capitol, the parking lot of the Capitol building, which would like overlook all of Salt Lake. I could be wrong. It's just what it looks like. It's dark, so what was you wouldn't know. And they're like, and like on the weekends we beat up rednecks because we hate rednecks. You know why? Because fuck America. That's why. Okay, first of all, there are no rednecks in Salt Lake City. Okay, and there were, and there aren't now. You got to recall, like, okay, for you younger people, prior to like 1993, 94-ish, like country music was like not a thing. It just wasn't, unless you lived in the South and were old and watched, hee haw, like older than the boomers, right? Like silent generation types, or you were an actual farmer, like you lived off in a farm and like, you hauled hay like every day. Like people do not listen to country music. That changes. Like I said, 93, 94. There's a book on this, and I think also a Wikipedia article called The Rednecking of America, where like country stuff like becomes like a thing for suburban moms, right? Like the Dixie Chicks and like, okay, Dixie Chicks, and Jeff Foxworthy is part of that, and Larry Cable Guy much later, and yeah, like I guess like Wilson Phillips adjacent, like country stuff, that starts spreading mid 90s, but you would not see rednecks and pickup trucks in Salt Lake City. No. There were Croatians. We beat the snot out of some Croatians, but no, generally no rednecks. Sorry. And then, the next scene, I guess, the next important scene is like they go through all the cliques, like there's the punks and the mods and like maybe, but that's some early 80s thing. I think the author is like introducing like his own understanding of like 80s punk stuff. I never saw any mods in Salt Lake or otherwise. Maybe they were there before and I just never saw it. And then you get into like the Heroin Bob thing, and like he punches the mirror and like the hand. So okay, right, that's why. I guess I had to talk about the hand. So what actually happened, and I can pinpoint the date this actually happened, pretty much to the minute, because okay, what had happened was I was at home. I was living in North Salt Lake at the time, and I was frying stuff, French fries, and I had left oil on the stove, okay, and I was engrossed in a TV show, and the TV show was the first airing of Star Trek: The Next Generation: Lower Decks, right? So that would have been the first airing would have been on Thursdays, I think, on NBC. but then it would be picked up like a translated UHF station, I believe, and shown again Saturday mornings at about 10 o'clock. So it would have been like Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. I got very engrossed in this TV show, turned around to look. The pan was caught fire. I picked up the pan with my hand, and my genius mind decided I should shake the fire out. Just shake it out. Shake it out. And I got boiling oil all over the hand, right here. 3rd-degree burns all the way to the bone. Didn't hurt yet. Hurt like son of a bitch afterwards, but at the moment it did not hurt that much. I called the EMTs, and like they came to the door, and like doors in like North Salt Lake are like really narrow because they're kind of like older buildings. And these two EMTs guys, they came, and they're like huge, these huge white dudes. And I like showed it to him, like, what do I do? It was like, well, we could take you to the hospital. I don't want to go to the hospital. What would they do at the hospital? They'd clean it and bandage it. I was like, I can do that. They're like, cool. And then they left, right? So, and this is where the story most likely comes from. I went to the Smiths, I guess it would have been, and I got some like rubbing alcohol and some razor blades and some scissors, and I went down to the Java Jive, and I had it wrapped in like a cloth, and I did surgery on myself, like in the Java Jive, which was something we did back then. Something that, and as my friend, who I almost named but I won't, said that this earned me major punk points, and right, to do this, and like it grossed some people. Yeah. People talked about that. I'm pretty sure that's the origin of the story. I don't see how it could be anything else. But yeah, I would go and I would do that every day. I never went to the hospital. I kept it clean all by myself, and yeah, no injections, so no needles. That's the end of the hand story. Oh yeah, also, so I guess this would be like 95. It had to be like 94 or 95 because Space Jam, the movie had come out and they were developing Space Jam, the video game, and I had just gotten a job playtesting Space Jam, the Nintendo game, or Nintendo SNES, I don't know, 95, I don't know consoles. And I couldn't do it because my hand was all fucked up, so they fired me. And so I had even more time to spend at the Java Jive. Oh, right. Oh, I missed the part about Sean and the acid sheet. That was slightly before my time. Everybody knew this story. In the film, they have this guy named Sean, and that's how we knew him by. His name was Sean. Sean who? I don't know. Sean from where? But you talk to somebody like, hey, did you hear about Sean? Like, yes, I've heard about Sean. Right. He puts a sheet of acid in his pocket. He runs from the police. He runs through a college, like, football field or something. The sprinklers come on. It activates the whole sheet of acid. It all seeps into his skin, and he goes crazy. And he puts oven mitts on his hand and chases his mom around the house with a knife. I have heard this story more times than I can count. In no version does he stick the thing in his pocket. No, he keisters it. Okay, which is, I don't know if that's used anywhere else, but in Utah that means you stick it up your butt. He keistered a sheet of acid so that he would not be caught by the police. Okay, and of the versions that I've heard, he went insane. He's in an insane asylum. And one version I heard is he thinks he's a glass of orange juice and everybody's going to drink him. And the other version is he thinks he's an orange and everybody's going to peel him. And that's the end of the story. Possibly based on fact. The orange part, I'm sure, is urban legend. Everything else about Sean is the invention of the author of that movie. Okay, that's the real, that's the version of the story of Sean that went around. What else? Oh, right. Okay, so, and then a bit later, they go to, they talk about like how the beer in Utah is weak unless you go to the liquor store. That's true. unless you go to the state liquor store, which closes at 6. So just go to the state liquor store, plan ahead. But if you drive to the border of Wyoming, there is a city, they do not name it, the city is called Evanston, okay, where you can get everything that is contraband in Utah, including not just higher alcohol beer, but also clove cigarettes, okay. And in the movie, they make it like the people at the store were shocked and appalled to see punks. They're like these Wyoming like cowboys. Like, what are these punks doing? No. This store is set up for that purpose. It is for punks from Utah. Okay, we went there on a regular basis, and they knew who we were, and they knew what we wanted. And so I mentioned Confetti, the store across the street from the Java Jive, which I'm going to get back to. If you went to Evanston, Wyoming, you drove to Evanston, Wyoming, like it was like 3-4 hours by car. You get, but what you really want is clove cigarettes. Okay, you can get. This is my recollection. You can get a pack, like 20 of Samperna Extras, Samperna Extra Blacks. You know, the black ones. Okay, I would get like a carton, but a pack would be like $1, maybe $2, I don't remember. And then you drive it back, and then you take it into Confetti, the goth club, and you light one up, and you just like start wafting it around, and people would be like, oh, "How did you get clove cigarettes?" It's like, I get clove cigarettes, and you could sell them to the goth kids for $1 each, so $1 to 20. Fine smuggling operation. I didn't do that every weekend, but I did it on a pretty regular basis. I suppose if I was serious, you could make a career out of it, but you just do it for fun, right? Yep. Oh, what else about the film? That might be it. And after that, like, that's the end of the true stories. There's another like subplot with a guy from Sweden whose parents and his whole family died in a flood from a plane crash, and he gets like a payout from the airline, and he kind of like lives on that money. I don't know who that is. It seems familiar, but I don't know. So, and then after that, the film just becomes character-driven trash. Very violent, yes. A very violent underground scene, definitely yes. We had the best mosh pits. You hear like I don't know, people from out of state. Like this is things like a band is like True Bloody Violent, mate. Like, oh my God, True Bloody Violent. Yeah, no, everybody came. But people from out of state would be like would talk about like their mosh pits and like how they were very helpful mosh pits. Like if you fell down in the mosh pit, like people would help you up, and like the mosh pit is like the safest place to be because everybody's so awesome. Like not our mosh pits. We beat the crap out of each other. That's the truth. And there would always be like a ring of like black, what do you call it? Like black marks on the floor where the mosh pit was up front. Yeah. But those would be like the underground clubs. The above ground clubs, you probably heard about the story. Actually, there's several versions of this story. This is kind of tangential. It has nothing to do with the film, but like apparently Marilyn Manson was arrested. He did something with it. He tore up a Book of Mormon on stage. I was arguing with somebody about this, and like, no, that was Trent Reznor who did that. And like, no, it was Marilyn Manson. And I looked it up, and apparently Marilyn Manson did it too. But that definitely happened to Trent Reznor when the first, like, they had like a whole concert when I was a senior, I think, senior in high school, almost certain. I know that happened because my friend like hooked up with Trent Reznor like in the lavatory in the bathroom, like and talked to him about it. So that definitely happened. I had no idea that Marilyn Manson had done it also. by the time Marilyn Manson to come out, I was starting to age out. I was like getting too old for this stuff, so I didn't follow it. So maybe it happened twice. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and then the film degenerates into like slop, and then Heroin Bob dies. So it's only partially based on me because I am not dead. Okay, but why so bloody violent, mate? Right. So, and I'm sorry. Okay, if you're Mormon, it's gonna suck. I'm sure you're a good person, but I got nothing good to say about the Mormon Church, and you're not gonna hear anything good about the Mormon Church from me today. So, sorry. There's no gentle way to get into this, but the Mormon Church then and now has a bit of a problem with pedophilia, just a bit. Okay, and like many other Second Great Awakening religions, like the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mennonites, and they practice shunning. So they like throw you out of your house if well, if you're disobedient for one, if you refuse to go to church, possibly another, but also if you talk too much. So if you went into the Java Jive on a regular weekday, it would be full of homeless kids, okay? And I know why they were homeless because I knew all of them and they told me, okay? It would have been like abused by their parents, and they hung out in the Java Jive and smoked heavily, which, well, eventually that gets the coffee shop closed down. Right about this time, the Utah passed the Indoor Clean Air Act, or whatever, the the Smoking Act, which says you can't smoke inside anymore. Okay, so similar to other laws in the state, but they made an exemption for private clubs. Okay, so the Java Jive created a private club called Smokers Unanimous. And you paid $1 and you got your Smokers Unanimous card. You put it in your wallet, and that made you a member of the private club, which means you could smoke inside at this private club called the Java Jive. And so if you go in there, you'd be like this cloud, like this you'd open the door and like it would just like waft out all these teenagers, homeless teenagers in the Java Jive smoking. And I told it was run by Charlie and Mom. They're called Charlie and Mom because Mom was like pretty much like surrogate mother to all these kids, right? People crashed at her house if they didn't have any other place to stay. She would give them jobs if they didn't have a place to work. I don't think that store ever made any money, but yeah, all these kids called her Mom, Charlie and Mom. Eventually, the Salt Lake City Council, pretty sure, on the grounds that it was full of goths who were smoking, they shut the place down. Okay, which would have happened 95 or 96, thereabouts. So I told you Confetti across the street, they opened up a coffee shop to like take in all that business, but it never took off because the owner of the Confetti was not Mom, and was not Mom to these kids, and she was a coke fiend who was almost never there. So that the coffee bar, after the Java Jive closed, I started hanging out at the coffee bar for a little bit, but it never really took off. You go in there and it'd be like empty most of the time. It was about that time I left. So, okay. Yeah, that'll do it. I have more stories about that, but that gets into like I do want to talk more about like the homelessness and the sex abuse and all that stuff, but that dovetails into like a whole other story, and that becomes more about me than about a movie. So I guess we'll save that for another time. And that is 30 minutes almost exactly. So thank you for spending this time with me at the canal, and I will see you again, hopefully sooner than later.